Okay.
Right. Okay, Bridget. So what we're going to do is the time machine exercise. And when you're a kid and you make believe with friends, and you really start to believe what you're doing, don't you? It starts to feel totally real, and you kind of forget that it's a game. And sometimes, if you've ever told a lie, and I'm sure you never have, like Washington, but you start to sort of believe it, or a fib or a white lie or whatever. You start to believe it, and that's the power of make believe. And we're going to use that principle to get a sort of roadmap towards a dream, a goal. Okay. So generally speaking, it's quite laborious. People have to sit down and write the steps they're going to take to, do whatever they want to do. But we can do it backwards. Okay. And I'll demonstrate what I mean. It's the best way of doing it. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and strongly experience being in the future, having arrived at your goal.
Okay.
Then I'll ask you to open your eyes, and I'm going to ask you some very detailed questions. Your job is to lie convincingly to me, and from the future. Okay, the future in inverted commas, and then I'll write down some of what you tell me, and then we'll divide. Then we'll have a structure. Okay, it all makes sense. Okay. So what do you have in mind? What is your dream? What is your goal?
Well, the other day I had an idea for a novel, and what I'd like to do is by this time next year, I'd like the novel to be finished and hopefully published.
Okay, so by late 2014, novel published. Okay. Finished first.
Yeah.
Being published as always.
Yep.
And okay, so that's all we need. So what I'd like you to do is just to close your eyes. Okay. And you can be partially aware of the room around you, okay, and the air around your body. And in your mind, you can just get a sense of that air relaxing, okay? And even the chair relaxing. And breathing calm into every muscle and every part of you, okay? So that part of you is here, that part of you is deep inside. That's it. Breathing tranquility and calm and rest, and getting a sense of moving rapidly now through time, through the days and the weeks and the months. That's it. To late 2014, to the point at which your novel is completed and it's published. That's it. I just want you to spend a few moments now in your mind enjoying this reality. That's it. Looking at the book cover perhaps, noticing the cover, the weight of the book in your hand. That's it. Enjoying listening to what other people have to say about your novel. Really getting a powerful sense of that. Okay, and what I'd like you to do in a few moments, I ask you in a few moments to open your eyes. You can come back to the room. That's it. A real sense that you're in the future now. Okay. Okay, so hi, Bridget.
Hi.
And I'm going to ask you a few questions about what you've been up to in the last year. And tell me what date it is today.
It's December the 10th, 2014.
Okay, and you've had a good year?
Yeah, it's been a good year.
Okay, so what's been going on in the last year?
Well, I've just got my book back from the publishers, and it's going to be published, and I can see it before me, and
fantastic.
I'm very excited.
Oh, fantastic. So who are the publishers?
It's a small company in New Zealand, because the book is set in New Zealand, where I'm from.
Okay.
So,
What's the name of the publishers?
It's called Art House Publishers.
Art House Publishers, right? Okay. And so this is a small publishing house in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Publishers, New Zealand. Okay. And how many pages is the book?
It's about sort of 300, 400 pages.
300, 400 pages.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the book? What's it called?
It's called The Road That Leads to Naseby.
The Road That Leads to Naseby.
Yeah.
Not to Noseby. To Naseby. Okay. And well, where does the title come from?
It's a line of a poem, which
Right.
is about a very small town in New Zealand where I've set this book.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. And it's almost 400 pages.
Yes,
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Okay. And how long does it take to write?
Well, it took me about 3 months to write it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In blocks of time that I had to put aside.
And did you find yourself did you feel like you had to write it, you had to get it out, or was it laborious? Was it hard, or was it easy?
There were moments where I just I couldn't do anything else but write.
Okay.
But there were other times where I had to make myself shape it or edit it or something like that.
Okay. All right. And so you started when?
I started in December 2013.
December 2013. And did you work much over Christmas, or?
I did some research in New Zealand over Christmas
Right, okay,
about the area.
You were in New Zealand over Christmas.
I was in New Zealand.
And you did some research. How did you do that research?
I went to the town, which I have been to before, and I took lots of photographs, and
Okay.
I looked through the museum a bit because my book is partly set about 150 years ago.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you did a sort of bit of historical research.
Mhm.
You actually went to Naseby
yes.
in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Had you been there before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a childhood home of my mum's.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
It's somewhere that really has a sort of strong connection
Yes.
with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what inspired the story?
It's a mix of things. I guess because Naseby's always been very interesting to me because it was this massive boom town in the 1860s, and then nothing has happened there in the last 150 years.
Really? Right.
So, yeah.
So it's like time stood still there, is it?
Kind of. There's a cemetery which is very, very busy. You know, there's about 200 people buried in the cemetery, but then there's fewer than that living there.
Right.
And there's lots of like abandoned buildings and things.
Yeah. Okay. And did you have the idea of the story before you wrote the novel? Or?
Yeah, I had the idea in December 2013, and I just noted a lot of things down and went from there.
And did the whole story come to you in one, or did you develop it?
No, it came to me over about a week or so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And so it took you 3 or 4 months to actually write the novel.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's would be for me, I think. And how did you do it? How did you organise that? I mean, were you writing every single day, or?
Well, I've done some creative writing classes, so I know a bit about how to structure a novel, which helped me with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just put aside a few hours a night and then a few hours in the weekend so that I could, I knew I had blocks of time where I had to write, and I made myself write then. Even if I didn't feel inspired, I still had to go.
So it was disciplined, you know.
I had to use some self-discipline, yeah.
So you didn't wait to feel inspired, you just, you approached it like a sort of job.
Like a job, like a task.
And that was enough time, 3 or 4 months to do that. Well, what was the hardest thing about disciplining yourself and doing that? Looking back at writing that novel, what was the toughest thing about it?
Probably when I had moments of thinking to myself, oh, this is crap, no one will ever want to read it.
Yeah.
And I had to just sort of make myself push through that feeling, because that's a feeling I often have.
So when you kind of got self-conscious about it, in a sense, or started to imagine how other people would view it, and sometimes there would be a little sort of negativity there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the toughest thing. And what was the best thing about writing it?
just like the sheer enjoyment of creating something, which I really like doing.
So the creative feeling.
Yeah.
And really enjoy the sort of creative flow sometimes. Okay. And did you have an editor?
I sent the book to a friend of mine in New Zealand who is also a professional editor,
right?
And who I used to work with, and she edited it for me,
right?
And then I sent it to a publishing house.
Okay, and how long did she take to edit it?
A good month or more. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and what did she say about the novel?
She congratulated me, and she gave me a lot of positive feedback, but she also gave me some really good constructive criticism.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
And she knows a lot about writing, so I really valued that.
So it was real feedback, you know.
Yeah, real feedback, not like my mum, like, good job, Bridget.
Yes. Oh, whatever you do is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
So the editor was sorry, and where was the editor? Sorry,
she lives in New Zealand too.
She's in New Zealand. Okay. New Zealand. Is she? I suppose it doesn't matter how close she is to you, does it? Send it to her.
Yeah, just by internet.
and what about the cover of the book? I mean, how was that sorted out?
The publishing house sorted all that out.
Are you happy with the cover?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
Can you describe it to me? I mean, I'll check it out later on Amazon, but I just...
They took a picture of Naseby and they blurred it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And can you tell me anything about the characters in the book? I mean, just one of the characters, or...
There's a character who has PTSD after surviving the Christchurch earthquake.
Right.
And
but not the recent earthquake.
Yeah, the recent one. Yeah.
Right,
So,
okay.
but then she goes to Naseby and she starts looking into her family tree.
Right.
So that's why some of it's set in the past and some of it's set recently.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And but the secret that she unveils and the fact that she has PTSD is slowly fed to the reader. So it's a kind of like a murder mystery, and it's kind of like you're trying to figure out what's going on in the present and what's going on in the past.
Sounds good.
So that's my idea.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. And so you so you knew this editor previously?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you started writing in late 2013, and you finished writing what, sort of March or April?
Yeah, probably more like April, May, because I had to do some research first.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you fit the writing of the novel around the other work that you had to do?
I did it in the evenings or in the weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And did that sort of impinge on your social life at all, or you know?
Not really, because when you really, really want to write something, there's kind of nothing else you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that,
and it sort of wakes you up. It doesn't really tire you out.
Yeah. So that didn't really.
No.
It wasn't an issue. Whereabouts did you write?
I just wrote on my kitchen table at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just on a laptop.
Yeah, on my laptop with a cup of coffee by me.
Yeah. Okay. And that was in the evening sometimes.
Yeah, and the weekends. Yeah.
Okay. And the weather was good?
It was Scottish, so it was mixed.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you didn't mind being inside?
No. No.
Fantastic. And the publisher, was it the first publisher that you approached?
I sent it to several, and this is the one that came back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say several, how many?
Probably like 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just sent it with a covering letter, or
with the covering letter and the documents and sort of thing.
Okay. And from those other publishers, did you get any feedback?
I got quite a few rejection letters because they didn't want to publish it, or they couldn't, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just had to pretend that didn't bother me.
Yeah, and just keep going with it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the best thing now about being a published author?
Just that I've created something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And I guess just giving a copy of the book to my mum.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. And what have people said about The Road That Leads to Naseby?
I think people were quite surprised by it because some of the characters are a bit strange, and I think sometimes people think to themselves, "Oh gosh, is that something you've thought or whatever?" And it's not. Right. It's just kind of something that's inspired me.
People haven't said things like that person's not based on me, are
they? No one said that.
Right.
Hopefully, no one would. Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do here. So the first thing is, it was December 2013, and you had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what sort of prompted the idea? Was it just came to you? Or?
It was a discussion. I was telling someone about Naseby, this hometown of my mother's, and I just suddenly a few ideas that had been swimming around in my head for a while kind of all came together, and I just had to go and make a quick note of the idea.
Right. So it really sort of was a creative moment.
Mm.
Yeah, fantastic. And then the title came to you as well, or you just
that came to me later.
Came to you later.
Yeah.
So the title came to you. And then you went to New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to Naseby,
mm-hmm.
New Zealand, and you sort of researched, did some research to Naseby. Researched, and you did that by visiting a museum.
Mm-hmm.
Museum and talking to locals? Or?
Yeah, and took some photos as well.
Locals, took some photos. Can you describe it on the photos that you took?
I took some photos of the cemetery.
Right.
Because the graves are racially segregated, and that's part of what happens in my book.
Right.
Yeah, the Chinese people weren't buried with the Pakeha people, the white people. Right. Yeah, this is in 1860. This isn't today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realise that. And so that's an element of your book as well. Okay, so went to the cemetery. Is Naseby big? I mean, how big is it?
No, it's a tiny hamlet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a huge metropolis.
No.
And then you began writing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, and writing in kitchen. Okay, and a few hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
When you say a few hours a day, I mean, 3 hours a day? Or?
Probably like 2 hours each evening, and then a good 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 hours, but every day.
So 2 hours, maybe like 4 days a week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Right. 2 hours, 4 days a week, and that was enough to write 400 pages in 3 months.
Maybe.
or looking back, was it a bit longer?
Maybe my memory's a bit faulty. Maybe it was a bit longer.
Okay, so that's interesting, isn't it? And then it was finished. Mm-hmm. And then did you rewrite any of it, or did you?
Yeah, I went through and made lots of, read this, thought, oh no, this doesn't work, or I changed things.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you finished it and then went back over it, finished it. I hope I can read my writing. Finished it and then went back over it. Went back over it. Okay. Then finally editor.
Mm-hmm.
And then publisher.
Yeah.
And has it actually gone on sale yet? Or?
Not yet, but it's going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm excited about.
How much is it going to retail for?
Well, on Kindle it will retail for about $4.99.
$4.99 on Kindle.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it selling as a hard version?
I think a few copies will. Yeah.
Right.
But largely it's an ebook.
Okay. And did you describe to me the cover?
Yes, the one with the
it's my memory, right. Okay. So we've got the cover, and the publisher took care of the cover.
Mm.
Okay, that's great. So I've written down 9 steps.
Okay.
Essentially, some of the steps are quite long, like actually writing the book.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm going to do now is just to have you experience each step, just as a visualization exercise. Okay, and then when I write this down neatly, then you'll have a roadmap. Okay.
Cool.
So is there anything else looking back that you did that you haven't told me about, or that you needed to do?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Right, so if you close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. And we're back in 2013 in December. All right. And I'm just going to take you through the steps. Okay. And I'll ask you to just visualize yourself from the outside, okay, during each step. And then between the steps, I'll ask you to open your eyes. So we have a demarcation between each step. So the first step, okay, it was you having the idea for the novel. And I think you were talking to someone about Naseby, and it sort of came to you. So I just want you to just get the sense of visualizing yourself. having the idea. Okay, it's like a gift from the gods of creativity. Okay, and just observing that. When you've got a real sense of seeing yourself, having had that idea, then you can open your eyes. Okay, you got that? Okay. Then if you close your eyes again, and just getting the idea of the title coming to you. Okay. Okay. The Road That Leads to Naseby. Okay. And then you can open your eyes. Then close your eyes again, and just sort of observe yourself almost in fast forward time, like on a TV screen, just actually going to New Zealand and visiting the museum, looking at the graves, the cemetery, and really connecting up to the living, breathing entities that are now just cold stone in that place. Okay, just observing yourself doing all the research you need to do. Okay, and you can open your eyes, and then close your eyes again, and trying to read my writing. Getting down to actually working, okay, and observing yourself with a cup of coffee, on the kitchen table, really seeing that kitchen very, very clearly in your mind's eye, seeing yourself in flow, you know, when you're in the zone, in the creative flow, and words just seem to flow through your fingertips, all the right kinds of words. Okay, doing the real people, but doing behind the fictional people justice with your words, and just observing that. I think quite a moving experience just to see yourself doing that. Okay, the words flowing, coming into being, changing the world in some way. Okay, and when you've got a sense of observing yourself doing that, and okay, through the weeks and the months, that's it. Okay, you can close your eyes again, and just having the sense of having completed the initial novel. So there's still things to do, but have a sense of completion in one way. Okay, having written those 300-400 pages, and when you've done that, you can open your eyes, and then closing your eyes again, and just getting the sense of having gone back through it and going back through it, and seeing yourself going back through it, observing yourself doing that, making changes, shaping it. And open your eyes again, and close your eyes. Get a sense of sending off to the editor, or watching yourself contact the editor, whether by email or phone or both. And sending it off to the editor in New Zealand. And that's it. And then close your eyes. Getting a sense of getting it back from the editor. That's it. The editor maybe made a few suggestions, some great feedback. You're reading that. That's it. And then at the point at which you send that off to the publishers, and I just want you to spend a few moments in your mind's eye. That's it. Just observing yourself, sending it to all those publishers until the one that sticks. Okay. Art House Publishers, New Zealand. That's it. And just observing yourself, the very moment that you got the news that it's to be published. I really enjoy watching that, watching yourself in that moment. That's it. That's it. And then you can open your eyes and close your eyes again. Just want you to observe in your mind's eye the cover, the sort of blurred image of the Road That Leads to Naseby. That's it. Setting at $4.99 on Kindle. Okay, and you are a published author here at the end of 2014. Okay. And when you've got that sense and the wonderful, delicious feeling of completion and accomplishment, a real sense of the journey from late 2013 to late 2014, a real sense of the reality, tangible reality of that journey, then you can open your eyes again. Okay. so just some feedback from you. Back in 2013, as we are now.
Right.
In case you're confused. Where am I? Back to the Future. What was that? What did that process feel like?
It kind of just made it clear in my mind all the things I've got to do.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because I never visualized a lot of those things, like how long it would take me to write it, or I never even thought about what the cover would be like and that sort of thing. But it kind of made me really see what I have to do, and not just want it, but actually put in process.
So the beauty of this is it combines fantasy, because most of us, fantasize about achieving things. But it combines the fantasy with some of the more everyday practicality. But it's a sort of unique way of combining the two, I think, but also gives a chance for people to review stuff. I mean, I've done this with people, and they've actually decided they weren't going to do. They no longer wanted to do because it was too much of a time investment, or they didn't have the time, or it was too much money, or So sometimes you get a step will be, okay, what was the next step to starting this business, and let's say winning lottery,
right?
Or someone once said, I did this in a workshop with someone, and she said I'd have to meet a famous actor in the street, and and then he gets me into acting, and So we see what's under people's control and what isn't. Doing this. But when you were make believing, did you start to almost believe what you were saying?
Yeah, I mean it's all fairly realistic. Like I can sit down and write, and I can research, and I do have a friend who's an editor. So I mean there was nothing there that isn't realistic. It's just, I guess, knowing how to get from A to B and what exactly you have to do. So what I'll do is write this down neatly, and there are actually 9 steps that I sort of got from this, and then you'll have a sort of a rough blueprint or a guide, from how to get you, from where you are now to where you want to be. And you can follow that, as either sort of visually or just actually imagine each step, then start to put them into practice, and but also think about if there's anything in that needs to change. Okay, and thank you very much. Cool. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I look forward to reading The Road That Leads to Me.
In a year's time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.